Notts County is the oldest professional football club on earth. Older than the Premier League, older than the FA Cup, older than most of the countries whose flags fly outside its stadium. In the summer of 2009, a mystery company claiming to represent a Middle Eastern royal family walked in and promised to turn this tiny, broke, 4th Division club into the richest team in the world. For 4 unbelievable months, English football believed every word. Campbell signed. Sven-Göran Eriksson signed. Journalists wrote breathless stories about a new Manchester City rising from the lowest tier of the game. None of it was real. There was no Sheikh. There was barely any money. And the man behind it all had been convicted of fraud before most of these players were even born. This is the story of Russell King, the fake billionaire who nearly bought a football club with a story instead of a fortune. Russell King was not a football man. He was a financier, or at least he was very good at sounding like one. By the time he arrived at Notts County in 2009, King already had a criminal record for fraud stretching back decades, including a conviction in the 1980s for deceiving investors out of their money. None of that stopped him from doing exactly the same thing again, on a much bigger stage, in an industry that was about to prove it would ask almost no questions if the number on the table was big enough. King's pitch was simple and irresistible. He represented a mysterious investment vehicle called Munto Finance, which was in turn backed, he claimed, by an anonymous Bahraini billionaire prepared to spend a fortune buying English football clubs. Notts County, sitting unglamorously in League Two, the 4th tier of English football, was about to become his test case. The takeover was announced in the summer of 2009, and it moved fast. Munto Finance completed its purchase of Notts County and immediately started talking like a superpower. Sven-Göran Eriksson, the former England national team manager, was hired as director of football. Campbell, a genuine England international who had played Champions League football for Arsenal, was signed on wages reported to be worth £10,000 a week, an almost absurd figure for a club at that level. The club's own executives publicly compared the ambition to Manchester City, then in the very early days of their own Gulf-funded transformation. The implication being that Notts County was about to do the same thing, just faster, and from further down the football pyramid. Behind the scenes, the actual money was nowhere to be found. Munto Finance was registered in the British Virgin Islands. Journalists digging into its ownership structure found a trail that led, astonishingly, to a housewife in Jersey listed as a company director, with no plausible connection to Gulf royalty or football finance of any kind. The Middle Eastern billionaire backing the whole operation was never named, and later reporting suggested he may never have been involved at all. It took less than 4 months for the illusion to fall apart. Campbell played a single match for Notts County, 1 appearance, before walking away from the club entirely, reportedly. Put unpaid and unconvinced the promised transformation was ever going to materialize, Sven-Göran Eriksson's tenure as director of football barely lasted longer. Player wages went unpaid. Journalists who had been cautiously credulous in the summer turned openly skeptical by the autumn and started asking the obvious question nobody had asked loudly enough at the start. Who, exactly, is actually paying for any of this? By October 2009, Munto Finance sold Notts County on, for a single symbolic £1, to a group of the club's own fans and local businessmen, who spent years afterward quietly cleaning up the financial mess left behind. Russell King himself had already stepped back from the public face of the deal months earlier, once questions about his fraud convictions started surfacing in the press. The English Football League, which was supposed to vet prospective club owners through a fit and proper person test, had approved the takeover with almost no scrutiny of who King actually was or where the money was supposed to be coming from. Russell King never bought a football club. He bought 4 months of headlines, a director of football with a World Cup pedigree, an England international signature, and the temporary belief of an entire sport, using a company with no real money, backed by a billionaire who may never have existed at all. The most remarkable part of the story isn't that a professional conman tried it. It's that English football's entire ownership system was so easy to fool that he very nearly got away with it.